Black Science Orchestra, New Jersey Deep. Jamayka Boys, Rastaman. Roots Revolutions. Last but not least, of course, Blacker by the Ballistic Brothers, one of my top 5 of all-time favourite records. One common factor amongst all of these tunes, you know who it is, I know who it is, it's Ashley Beedle. Welcome to Heads Down, as I suppose I'm supposed to say. Keep it the branding strong and stuff. So, I don't know really where to start with you.
I don't know where to start with me, to be honest, Chris.
As you know, as you well know, without me becoming the human gushatron, you know, I've been following your music for a long time, have a significant amount of your records in my collection. And I guess I really want to know where you started out. What your sort of first experiences were in terms of what age you first find yourself really getting into music.
I grew up in a household of great records, you know, which is thanks to my father and also my mother to a certain degree. You know, my mother was more, she had her favourites. She was pretty much immersed in her sort of Brooke Benton and Al Green and, you know, these sort of Sam Cooke, you know, the stuff that was the you know, ex-gospel singers, if you like, and making sort of secular stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And my dad's records, his end of the whole record thing was just incredible, you know. It was like from a very young age, you know, sort of rifling through his little boxes of sevens he had of, you know, old blue beat records and, you know, Rocksteady and early reggae stuff. And also, he was an avid collector of soul, an avid collector of rock. You know, loved his classical.
Lucky man.
So it was for me. It was just always an education, pretty much every weekend, because my dad was always out buying records. You know, every weekend it was like, right, we're going down to the record shop. You know, so it was great, and also the fact that a lot of my dad's friends were all record buyers as well. So you can pretty much guarantee come the weekend a party was going on. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And the records would come out. I spent a lot of time looking at my dad's sleeves, you know, the record sleeves, and just digesting the information.
Who the players
were, and, you know, not even necessarily listening to the record, because, you know, there's only certain records I could actually play that my dad allowed. He said, well, you can play that one, but, you know, your dad's got to play that one. The first record I actually bought was Sparks.
Oh yeah.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us. And we used to have a greengrocer across the road. And for some bizarre reason, he had a record shop in the back, or a record shack in the back of the greengrocers on Station Road in Harrow. And it was great because every time my mum said, "Look, can you go over and get some potatoes?" I'd be in the record shop at the back of these greengrocers. And he used to order in your top 20 records or your top 10 or whatever, and you'd order it from him, and then you'd get them in for a couple of days later. So that was kind of my introduction to buying records. Well, it was funny really, because it was my 16th birthday, and I was at that point, you know, pretty immersed in soul boy culture. You know, buying some of the early 12s that came out and stuff, and, you know, I used to go up West End and to I think it was Contempo and Groove Records and places like that, and, you know, buying 7 inches and stuff. My dad decided he asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said, "Oh, can I get some decks?" You know, so he bought me some belt drive garage decks.
Fantastic.
Little disco lights, which you didn't have to plug in because the vibration made the lights go. You know what I mean? And that's how I kind of started wanting to, like, play my friends' parties and stuff. And at the time I was living in Rayners Lane near South Harrow, on this pretty mad estate, to be honest. And that was an education, to say the least.
At what point does this sort of love of eclectic music and starting to DJ out, at what point did that intersect with sort of acid house and the whole sort of dance music thing?
I think it's really weird, because, I mean, you know, like many other people, acid house initially was an epiphany. You know, it was like, bloody hell, what is this? You know, because I think we got to that point where we had music was folding back on itself. You know, Rare Groove was basically old funk and soul records. Do you know what I mean? And when those early house records started to come over, when people like the Watson brothers, you know, Noel and Maurice Watson, doing Delirium and that, and you know, going to those places and that, and hearing these sort of records and thinking, what the hell are these records? I mean, I'm sure my earliest recollection, I think, of really getting into the house was hearing. There was an early tracks release. I think it was No Way Back or one of those. And I actually thought it was a reggae record sped up, do you know what I mean? Because it was so like just bass. I think it might have been Graham Park or someone like that playing it. This was Disco's Revenge, definitely, when you look back in hindsight. But
that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, but they were machines, you know. They were making this stuff with bloody machines. Even though there was you know, a lot of the boogie records being made were made electronically, you know. So that there was that side of the scene as well, you know, which sort of ran in conjunction with Rare Groove, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Were you into that? That sort of 81 to 83?
Yeah, I loved all that. I loved all that electro stuff. We all did, you know. That was part of growing up and being soul boys and stuff and making that transition. But I don't know. I think you know what? It's really funny actually, because I think you know the house thing. Let's be honest. I think was when it coincided with the ecstasy. That was when I think you needed those two things, definitely.
So you were going out a lot at the time as well. Yeah.
I think definitely. I used to be with Shock Sound System, and we were one of the first sound systems, I think, at Carnival to introduce house music to Carnival.
Right.
Notting Hill Carnival, and we got signed up by Jack Tracks and ripped off, may I add. And Jack Tracks, being that it was the label for Fingers Inc. and all this licensing, all this, we were like, oh wow, we got to sign to Jack Tracks, you know. And we signed and did this single called "Give Me Back Your Love" with Carol Leeming, a girl from I think Wolverhampton or Birmingham, amazing singer. And what we made, which we didn't realise, but in hindsight people have told us, was pretty much one of the first British sort of garage records, you know. So we made this record, and I wasn't involved totally in the production end of it. It was more Dean Zephyrin, Paul Denton. These are all guys from Shock Sound System,
right?
And they were kind of fronting it as the Boys in Shock. That was it. But you know, collectively, this is our record. Do you know what I mean? So that was great, and we had the most amazing sort of, you know, airplay from all those initial original warehouse parties. That's where it was getting played.
And were the Pirates as well at the time?
Yeah. The Pirates were playing it, and you know, we were walking around like cocks in the north, you know, like wow, you know. But consequently, you know, later on we got really ripped off. But hey, you know what I mean? That's the way it goes. You learn your lessons, don't you? It was the track "Where Were You" with Rob Mello.
Right. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Rob was involved in that. Yeah, and another guy called John Howard. But yeah, it's Rob Mello and John. And we made "Where Were You," and that was the first production. And then because of that, Terry Farley, it's really funny, said, "I want to get you in the studio with Rocky and Diesel because you've got the experience." And I thought, I haven't got no experience at all. You know what I mean? And we went in to make what became Music Express. And the funny thing about that was the studio we were working in South London. A friend of ours called Danny Arno, God bless him, you know, and it was weird because I remember, I think it was the second day or something, I just lost it. I thought, I can't work with this, you know, I can't get into this, and I'm sort of stormed out and left Rocky and Diesel sort of holding the baby, if you like. And they came out with something, or we come out with something, and I think we gave an acetate to Fabi Paras, who was a big DJ at the time, and he played it out, and he came back and said, like, it's mental, people are going mad. We couldn't really hear it at first, but then after a while, like the snowball effect.
You were really close to it.
It's like, wow, you know. And if you actually listen to Music Express, it's quite a funny old record, because it's almost like a live pass done off the desk, and you can hear the dropouts wrongly, and you know what I mean, and the kick not coming in quite at the right time, but you know, it's the charm of the record.